the scene in 2029 will look something like this for Ritvi.
Tracking this fragment, they are predicting an extinction-level event to extend around the globe, giving the limited number of people chosen by their skill sets the greatest chance of survival.
Hundreds of years after this, some pandemics will also try to wipe out human civilization from our Earth, that is, on Earth. With each passing day, our lives are reaching a point where we will have only two paths ahead of us. Either we stay on this Earth and perish, or we fight against nature to save this fragile life. Earth cannot be our home forever. It's not easy to accept, but it's the truth. One day, we will have to leave this Earth, and we need to start preparing for that now because we have absolutely no time left. But leaving the Earth just like that won't be easy either, because the resources we have here won't be easily available anywhere else. So then how exactly will we be able to sustain ourselves on another planet with limited resources? How many people would we need to build a new civilization? And suppose we build a colony beyond Earth, what kind of problems would human civilization have to face there? All of that there. So far from home, how will we survive without any support? These are the answers to all such questions. In today's video, hello friends, I am your friend Sheshi, and today's video will take you along into a world of the future where we are struggling to survive on Mars. Yes, Mars is the only planet near our Earth that gives us a new hope for life. This bright red planet, orbiting just after our Earth, has always attracted humans towards itself. It is said that even though today this planet is completely cold and deserted like an endless desert, but there was a time, millions of years ago, rivers used to flow here just like they do on Earth. The rising waves of the sea used to try to touch the shores, and maybe there was life here too. Because of some mysterious circumstances, everything here was destroyed. But can we humans make everything here the way it was before? Actually, it's not a bad idea, and we humans have been thinking about this for a long time. Because compared to searching for another planet outside the solar system and settling there, going to Mars would be more economical. It's also close by, and while we may not know everything about it, we definitely know a lot. SpaceX has also claimed that they are building such interplanetary spacecraft there which will be able to take at least 100 people to Mars. The owner of the company, Elon Musk, says that they are building such a fleet of spacecraft which will keep delivering resources from Earth to the Martians for some time. But in the end, can these fantasies actually be implemented in the real world? If you look at it, to a large extent, no. Because before going to Mars or sending a human settlement there, we will have to think deeply about many issues. There are many such issues that will need to be solved, like the intense radiation there, toxic soil, low gravity, low temperature, and more. There are many kinds of problems there, like severe dust storms and how to deal with them. We should have a plan for this before we get there, and this will only be the beginning. It will take us decades to build a vehicle that can land properly on Mars and also return to Earth. Coming back is also important because no one would want to get stuck in that cold red desert just for the sake of fantasies, especially billions of kilometers away from Earth. But let's take a journey today, a thought experiment in which we imagine that everything is perfect. And we finalized it. We've decided that we're going to colonize Mars, so how will things work there? Let's find out. Recently, scientists published a study on the minimum number of people needed to settle on other planets. Jean-Marc Salotti published this study in the Scientific Reports Journal on June 16, 2020. In this, they tried to find out how we can colonize a new planet, how many resources we would need there, how the colony would function, who would lead it, how people would work there, and how much time all of this would take. And most importantly, how many people we would need there to sustain ourselves So let's try to find the answers to all these questions based on this study. Now imagine you have arrived in a wonderful future. Well, that's not going to happen at all because the author of the study has said that the future of our Earth is going to be very terrifying, a future that would scare everyone just by thinking about it. There will definitely be wars fought by artificial intelligence and US humans. Apart from this, there will be many such natural catastrophic events that will disrupt life on Earth. We will only have options left, either to settle on Mars or some other planet. And unfortunately, if that happens, forget about coming back to Earth or getting supplies from Earth, because at that time, Earth itself will be struggling for survival. Now, the settlers who leave for another planet will have to manage everything on their own somehow. And in such circumstances, we will face some more problems as well. For example, we don't know how well the people in the colony will be able to work together. How will the conditions there affect their mental state? Will they communicate like normal humans there as well? Will they also want to share their time and resources with others there? One thing is for sure, we humans are experts at ruining our own things. Whether it's because of greed or the hunger for power, that's why we need to focus on organizational issues before we even go to Mars. What equipment we'll need there, how resources will be extracted, and what skills we'll need there. But there's another thing, we are leaving Earth in a panic, so we won't have enough time to think about all these things. We won't have the chance to prepare for decades, nor will we have much time. Only limited initial resources and equipment will be available, and the human factor is so unpredictable that you can't plan for it step by step. People react differently depending on the situation, and their behavior keeps changing too. That's why the chances of us surviving and settling on another planet are very low, but if we want to save human civilization, then somehow we have to survive. And in this case, Jan Mark has explained some things very well that will have a deep impact on our survival. However, these are just variables of mathematical equations in which the first variable is the availability of local resources, meaning where are we going to settle. For example, on Mars, how many resources will be available for us there, such as water, oxygen, and other useful chemical elements. These resources should not only be easily available on that planet, but they should also be easy to use. And here, our biggest good fortune is that we won't have to do this work from scratch. We already know a lot about Mars, about the conditions on Mars. Which resources will be available to us there, and how will we be able to extract and use them for agriculture and industrial production? Those who go to Mars will be lucky because we Earthlings have published numerous research papers, reports, and books about Mars, from which we know what all is available for us on Mars, where we are going, and what dangers are waiting for us in that unknown world. We have known this for a long time. For example, we know that we can extract gases from the atmosphere of Mars and minerals from its soil. On Mars, we can easily find iron, glass, and even organic compounds. But the biggest problem we will face here is the service life of our equipment, which we are going to use to start on Mars. We will have to extract as much material as possible before our equipment and tools break down or get damaged. Keeping them in good condition will become the most important thing. The second thing will be production capacity or the speed of work. We will have a list of equipment and a deadline, after which all that equipment will break down. The settlers will have to do enough work within that deadline so that they can make those pieces of equipment again and also produce some useful products. If that doesn't happen, they won't be able to survive there. Apart from that, the sharing factor among humans will also be very important there. Imagine that each settler is trying to survive on Mars separately. All those people are doing their own work themselves, trying to build the whole system on their own. Everyone is working on producing their own separate water and electricity by themselves. How difficult this can be for us humans, you all must have seen in the Martian movie. It won't be easy for every Martian to handle so much burden and pressure, and for this, we will have to increase the number of people going to Mars. We will have to build a large colony where every Martian works like a part of a car so that the whole car keeps running. That colony shouldn't be so small that it can't even meet its own needs, and it shouldn't be so big that the colony collapses under the weight of its own needs. So for this, we'll need a balanced number of Martian settlers, and now we'll have to calculate that number, and it will depend on this. On the resources available on Mars, the weather there, and besides that, there are many other factors as well. But if we talk from above, we can also calculate this number through a mathematical function. If you want to see those mathematical functions, we've given the link to the article in the description. You can read it according to your interest. But in the article, 5 areas have been described to calculate this number: ecosystem management, energy production, industry, buildings, and human factor. For example, we will have to send experts for each area there, like some who manage the ecosystem, some who are experts in energy production, some will handle industrial production, some people will develop infrastructure, and for the human factor, doctors, teachers for children's education, and some experts for sports and music will also be sent. It means that everything necessary to run a separate world, we will have to send all of that to Mars. And according to the calculations, that number came out. 110 people, yes. 110 people will be needed to build a new colony on Mars so that they can always survive there. No more and no less than this. The more people there are, the harder it becomes to predict the outcome. This is a rough estimate, which includes some assumptions and some uncertainties as well. Every plan isn't perfect, but still, this number will be very useful for us. Now, Veganic knows how many people they will have to send to Mars in the first attempt. But now the question is, if in the beginning people will live on Mars in a colony of 110 people, will we have to build a lot of colonies there? If that happens, then we humans will start fighting among ourselves for resources there. And we already said in the beginning that we humans are very good at messing things up. Anyway, there are many more questions besides this. Like, what will happen to the rest of the billions of people who are our own people, who are just like us, and who will stay here on Earth? Will a few people leave billions of humans behind to die just to preserve human civilization? This question will definitely come to all of our minds. Well, it will still take decades for this to become a reality, and it could even take hundreds of years. Going to another planet is also right. Colonizing and terraforming are also right. But for now, the right thing is to save our Earth until we find a better option. We often hear that the condition of our planet Earth is getting worse day by day. Glaciers keep melting as temperatures rise. Our cities are getting covered under a blanket of smog caused by pollution. The city is flooding due to rising water levels, and in some places it has stopped raining altogether, which is causing droughts. That means these changes have come because of our human actions. Due to these changes, we are seeing a decline in the Earth's health. In this situation, it's fair to say this planet may soon be uninhabitable for us. There will be some terrifying changes here that will force us to look for shelter somewhere else in this infinite universe. And when it comes to a home after Earth, the first thought that comes to our mind is Mars, and why shouldn't it? According to our understanding so far, Mars is the biggest contender for this spot. It is quite similar to our Earth in many ways. However, it cannot be ignored that currently the factors supporting life on Mars are almost non-existent, but as they say, humans tend to be a bit too optimistic, and that's just the optimism of the human race. As a result, we've been relentlessly pursuing Mars for the past 50 years. Sometimes we land landers or rovers here, observe it from the sky, or dig into its surface. To be honest, our fascination with Mars isn't pointless. It's worthwhile because Mars is the key to our destiny. Mars is the reality of our future. Therefore, on the path to reaching Mars and then establishing our base there, countless challenges and difficulties are waiting for us. So would you want to face these challenges? Wouldn't you want to embark on this journey to Mars's future? I'm sure, of course, that's why that is documentary library. Today, we're going on this trip to Mars, where all of us will go to Mars together. We'll set up camp there, do farming, and live a happy life, so let's go. By the way, keep in mind this trip is going to be one way only. So, passengers, please pack all your belongings carefully because there's no way back on this journey. Anyway, this gentleman is more eager than us to get to Mars. Yes, this is Elon Bahia from SpaceX. That's why he has built these starships to go on the mission to Mars. And not just private companies like SpaceX, even National Aeronautics and Space Administration is extremely excited for this endeavor. Currently, Elon Musk's company SpaceX and the American Space Agency National Aeronautics and Space Administration are both working together to prepare for the Mars colonizing mission. But what do we have to do with them? We are in our own world of dreams, where we are boarding our own spacecraft and entering the atmosphere of Mars. Now, keep one thing in mind here. We are creating this simulation keeping in mind all the discoveries made up to today. Brother, if we missed anything, please forgive us. After passing through Mars' atmosphere, we finally arrived. On its surface, where only desolation is visible, it looks just like a graveyard. There is nothing else worth seeing on this planet. Let's start our work from here now. First of all, we need to build some shelters here where we can stay, which can protect us from the icy winds and dust storms on Mars. Within the four walls of these shelters, the deadly radiation coming from the sun won't be able to reach us, and we will stay far away from all these dangers. These modern shelters will be made from the soil of Mars itself, and who will build them? Well, the answer is 3D printers. Yes, to do most of the work on Mars, we will have to rely on these machines and robots. According to National Aeronautics and Space Administration's plan, most of these machines will be sent there even before the Martian crew lands. As a result, all these tasks can be carried out immediately. During this time, these special types of machines will develop a unique kind of hybrid silicon from Martian soil, which will be used to build the shelters. By the way, the best thing here is that for now, most of the work on Mars will be carried out by our robots. These marvels, created with the powerful combination of machine learning and artificial intelligence, will prove to be very effective in establishing cities on Mars. They will be equipped with all those sensors that will help them work better, faster, and with greater precision. After that, in a very short time, we will have plenty of homes ready for us. After this, high-pressure zones will be created in these shelters. You already know that the atmosphere on Mars is thin, which means the air pressure there is very low. It's so low that humans can't survive in it. That's why we'll have to arrange for proper gas exchange and pressure maintenance inside these capsules and ultimately operate these things. It's necessary to maintain dignity. A lot of solar panels will also be installed on Mars to generate electricity, which will convert sunlight into electricity and charge our machines. Inside these Martian shelters, astronauts will be able to move around freely without any spacesuit or protective clothing. Therefore, as soon as they step outside, they will need a special body suit. This will provide a steady oxygen supply and maintain air pressure on their bodies. Now, if our Martians want to roam around on Mars, they will need a vehicle that can take them from one place to another on Mars. In such a case, just outside the shelters, a special kind of vehicle will be waiting for them on which these Mars travelers can go wherever they want. A lot of food has already been used here, and the remaining food can only keep them alive for a few months. The crew present on Mars is also maintaining constant communication. Everything from the robot's batteries to the cabin's pressure is being monitored closely. And regularly, rockets loaded with machines and robots are also being sent there to build a human settlement, which, after landing on Mars, are proving to be very effective in building up this infrastructure. Now it's time to focus on a very important mission. This mission is nothing else but farming on Mars. Beld, this may sound a bit childish. Now a special type of analog soil will be developed, which will be excellent for growing crops like potatoes, tomatoes and wheat. If you want to learn how to grow potatoes on Mars, just click the I button to watch the video. In this 10-minute video, we have explained the entire plan for farming in Martian shelters step by step. But for now, just understand that these early Mars travelers have also learned to grow vegetables, or you could say food on Mars by themselves. Making water, the idea of transporting water from Earth to Mars is good, but it's not feasible. Likewise, melting Mars's ice caps for water is difficult for the most part. It's clear that we will carry out these expeditions. Is this enough? To colonize Mars, we need something even bigger and more than this. Do we need to make it even more exciting? There is no limit to the flights of imagination of the human mind. This flight can go from one end of space to the other. But it is this long flight of imagination that has elevated humans from the category of apes to that of human beings. If humans had not dared to turn imagination into reality, perhaps today we would not have been able to travel easily from one corner of the world to another, nor would we have been able to travel in space. We couldn't have aimed to establish human settlements on Mars by 2030. Today we talk about establishing human settlements on Mars, which is about 34 million kilometers away from Earth. But this task is not as easy as it is to imagine. In today's video, we will talk about the kinds of problems that will arise when establishing human settlements. And only after finding solutions to these can we settle humans on Mars. The most important thing for establishing human settlements anywhere is the presence of water. But we know that there is no water on Mars, but is it really correct to say that there is no water on Mars? During the 1970s, some missions were executed for Mars. Mariner 9 and Viking were the first spacecraft to send Mars photos to Earth. And according to those pictures, there should be the presence of water there. In 2018, a researcher from Italy's National Institute for Astrophysics published his research, in which he claimed that there could be a very large lake about a mile beneath the surface near the south pole of Mars. This research stated that there is a hidden lake about 12 miles wide beneath the south pole of Mars. Similarly, in 2018, scientists from the United States Geological Survey identified 8 such regions on Mars, where due to erosion, large ice blocks have been found at depths ranging from about 1 meter to 100 meters below the surface. This means that there could be the presence of water on Mars. Similarly, a year later, in 2019, a report by the American Geophysical Union claimed that National Aeronautics and Space Administration scientists using the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, by studying the data, found that there are several buried layers of ice and sand about a mile below the surface at the North Pole of Mars. After learning all this, you might be thinking that we found water to live on Mars, but that's not the case. The water present here can't be used easily because this water is trapped inside the soil of Mars and locked within the Martian soil. We don't currently have any technology to extract this water and make it drinkable again. At the Legacy Research Center, we had to extract water from simulated Martian subsurface ice using our design. A team from West Virginia University won this competition held in 2019. This team named the model Mountaineer Ice Drilling Automated System 3. This system was fully capable of identifying different types of rocks and ice layers, mapping them and drilling through them. After this drilling, it could easily extract water from that ice. To advance mining in space, National Aeronautics and Space Administration has partnered with the Australian Space Agency. National Aeronautics and Space Administration has named this spacecraft The World Is Not Enough, or The World Is Not Enough. National Aeronautics and Space Administration says that this spacecraft can mine the soil of asteroids. It can extract water present in the soil and, after choosing the next target, can head towards it for mining. In this way, it can be said that it is possible on Mars. Technology is being made smarter for water mining in the direction of establishing settlements. The most important thing for establishing human settlements on any other planet is to have an atmosphere to survive there. But if we talk about Mars, its atmosphere is not at all suitable for human habitation in any way. Our new world does have its own atmosphere, but it is very thin. And this atmosphere does not contain any of the gases necessary for human life. Because of this, breathing here is completely impossible. 78% of the Earth's atmosphere is nitrogen gas. Whereas on Mars, nitrogen is only 2.7%, it's completely impossible. The very low atmospheric pressure on Mars will force the air inside a human to escape very quickly. Because of this, their internal body organs will get damaged. They wear suits over their eardrums so that atmospheric pressure is maintained on their bodies. Mars' atmosphere is very thin. Because of this, it is not able to retain the surface heat. Because of this, it can't stop all the heat from Mars' surface from escaping into space. And because of this, Mars' temperature drops down to minus 285 degrees Fahrenheit. According to a research published in Nature Astronomy in 2018, there aren't enough elements present on Mars to create such an environment that could sustain human life there. That's why it's said that to live on Mars, we would have to take essential things from Earth, and if we run out of them, we would have to come back to Earth to get them again, which would be very costly. The biggest problem in settling on Mars is the extremely high amount of harmful radiation present there. We know that energy is produced on the sun due to nuclear fusion reactions. Because of this reaction, stars emit X-rays and ultraviolet rays. Apart from this, they also emit electromagnetic radiation in large amounts, which is very dangerous. But Earth has powerful magnetic fields that protect us from the dangerous electromagnetic radiation coming from the sun. Similarly, because of Earth's thick atmosphere, dangerous rays like ultraviolet rays cannot reach the surface of the Earth. Other stars also emit dangerous radiation. Earth has a shield for protection, but Mars doesn't have any such shield. The European Space Agency is working on technology that, in the future, will protect astronauts on Mars missions from the dangerous radiation there. The agency is currently creating cosmic radiation in the lab and working on developing materials that can protect against that radiation. According to a report by Astronomy, astronauts on the International Space Station have conducted an experiment. In this experiment, they found out how cement can be easily mixed in microgravity. The idea behind this experiment is that one day humans might be able to use Martian soil to make concrete or some kind of glue, which could be used to build our structures for living there. In this way, we see that during future Mars missions, when astronauts are being settled on Mars, they will have to face many problems. How will we take astronauts to Mars, which is so far away? How will arrangements for drinking water be made there? And moreover, how can we protect ourselves from the extreme cold on Mars? This is still a topic of research and there are many debates yet to be had on it. That means it can be said that the dream of establishing a colony on Mars still seems like a distant reality. Friends, what do you have to say about this? Please do share your opinion with us in the comment section below. If you like this video, please make sure to like it and share it with your friends. For more videos like this, subscribe and turn on notifications.